So once again, you're welcome. This is the SDGs Connect Radio Show here on 91.3 FM Abuja. There's a lot of ginger. I'm really very ready for today's show because I have a very wonderful guest here with me in the studio. I'm not going to mention the name yet, but of course, if you keep listening, just stay on the dial so that I'm going to let that cat, out of the bag. It's actually a very big cat. And I'm very much excited because this show promises to be very exciting and very educating for all of us. Today we're going to talk about technology, how we can leverage on technology to ensure that we provide access, to development to underserved communities. Technology. So when we talk about technology, what really comes to your mind? What do you, really feel like is actually a big grammar? And, sometimes people may, get confused, a whole lot by, what we mean by technology. So here on today's radio show, we are going to break it down and let you understand, how we can, break the barriers and ensure that, technology is actually serving us. We are using technology to ensure that we have access to, developments, that everybody, is getting access to technology, and then they are developing their lives, their means of livelihood, they are getting access to education and all of that. So stick around, because when I'm right back from this break, I'll be introducing the guests here in the studio so that we do justice to how we can leverage on technology to provide access to development to every community here in Nigeria. Once again, you're welcome to the program. My name is Ubong Enyete, and I'm very glad to be welcoming you to this dial 91.3 FM Abuja Radio Maria. I'll be back after this short break. Of course, we talk about development here. We talk about sustainable development. That's because we like you. That's because we want to ensure that we create a safer world for everybody. We don't want, a toxic environment, like I said earlier. We don't want people to be struggling. We want sustainable development. I'm really pretty sure that everybody also wants, sustainable living. Everybody wants to live, large. So on today's edition of the show, like I said earlier before we went on that short break, we're going to be talking about a very crucial topic, something that looks, like everybody knows about it, but still not everybody also knows about it because, it could be a little bit, complicated for, most people. So we're going to, simplify it, break it down so that we really get to grasp of what technology is all about and how we can leverage on it to ensure that every community, everybody, has access to technology that would later on bring about sustainable development to these communities and to the people themselves also. So with me here in the studio is Nena Eze. She's actually the communications manager for Public and Private Development Center, PPDC. You're welcome to the show, Nena.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yeah, lovely voice. Good afternoon. I like the energy. So, let's talk about Nena.
About Nena?
Yeah, because your profiling shows that you're actually the communications manager to Public and Private Development Center. What's all about Nena and what's you doing with PPDC?
Well, as you've rightly said, I'm the communications manager at PPDC.
Okay.
And what I do basically is try to tell our stories, share our impact to our various stakeholders, just ensuring that what we're doing is on the ears, lips of every Nigerian and all our stakeholders. Yes.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, I like the fact that you want it to be on the ears, and
Definitely.
the lips of everybody, and of course that's what this radio program represents, because we want to create that awareness for what civil societies are doing in terms of ensuring that everybody lives sustainably. So delving right into what PPDC is all about, can you just tell us briefly what you guys do?
All right, PPDC, Public and Private Development Center, is a civil society organization, and we have been in existence for the past 20 years.
Okay.
And what we do is try to create awareness, increase citizens' participation in governance by providing technical tools, providing capacity building, raising awareness, on various or in various key sectors in Nigeria. And we have 3 program areas that we are currently focused on, which is access to justice. I'll be speaking more about that. Our procurement governance and our digital governance projects. So these are the 3 areas we are focusing on in raising awareness and ensuring that citizens have the right capacity to hold government accountable, to make sure that they are in the right conversations when policies are being made that are going to affect them. Yes, so just giving them the capacity to ensure that they are able to have those important conversations and make inputs that are going to ultimately affect their lives.
Oh, right. So, borrowing your phrase, you used, providing them with technical tools. So what does that mean? Is it like access to technology, like we're going to talk about later on?
Yes. Well, we have 2 projects now that are currently providing technology to communities, various different communities. Okay. So we have our Budeshi, and Budeshi is the Hausa word.
What's that again? Budeshi?
Yes, Budeshi. Okay. It means open it in Hausa.
Okay.
So what we do with Budeshi is open up contracting processes, public contracting processes. So we have been able to advocate for the adaptation of the OGP, Open Government Partnership in Nigeria, which is just an initiative, a global initiative that mandates government or those governments who have signed up to the OGP to open up their procurement processes, making it easily accessible for citizens to interact with the data on procurement data and just track procurement processes, ensure that services are being met, ensuring that projects across various communities are being constructed well and are meeting the needs of the people. So what we have in Budeshi is a collection of data, over 10,000 data sets from different MDAs. We work with the Federal Ministry of Education, we work with health, road works, different MDAs from across each level of government. So we publicize this data on Budeshi, the procurement data on Budeshi, to enable not only citizens but journalists, other CSO organizations to just track projects. And we have been able to, get or receive or, made some valuable impacts in different communities across local levels. And speaking of how we have been able to, use our technology or the Budeshi technology or Budeshi Civil Tech to to include different people in different communities is we have also been able to step down our initiatives to the state level. So what we did was work with various states. We've worked with Ekiti, Adamawa, Kaduna, Benue, and just to mention a few, we've worked with them to create their own open contracting portals. So localizing it in that sense. So ensuring that, all the roads that are being constructed in the states, all the schools, the lights project, water project, boreholes, that all the data is available on the states.
Budeshi.
Yes, Budeshi and also the state portal. And the reason for this is because we want citizens to have easy access to data to track government expenditure and to ultimately improve service delivery, because it's when this information is out there that you're able to, when a contractor comes to your community, you're able to hold them and say, oh, okay, I have the information. This borehole, for instance, is supposed to cost about maybe, let's say, 5 million naira. But why are you giving me a substandard borehole that is cost 200,000 naira? I have the contract details, and if you do not do what you're supposed to do, I will not sign off on the project to allow you get your balance payment from the government. So things like that. It's just ensuring that citizens have data to track projects and ensure and to ensure that service delivery is met.
Is met at the end of the day.
Yes.
Wow, that's a lovely one. That's, wonderful job you guys are doing. And it goes to tell the fact that, in all of this, technology is playing, its own part.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually what you guys are using on the front burner to ensure that, service delivery is actually achieved, and then development programs are actually brought to the doorstep, of these communities. But I'm sure in a bid to achieve all of this, you might, be having some challenges, here and there. What are, the challenges? Because I was even going to ask you, what the app looks like in terms of is it very easy for someone to navigate? You know, a common person in the community can the person have access to this Budeshi app? Is it very easy for them to open up and then check for those datas and then get updated? So what are those challenges in terms of developing this app and then getting it to where it is right now? Maybe your past challenges and then the ones you actually getting to face right away, right at the moment.
Well, I think the major challenge we are facing is getting access to the data from the government in the first place.
Oh, really?
So we use something called the Freedom of Information Act to request for procurement information from different MDAs. And, sometimes they give us a little bit of a pushback, they don't respond to us or things like that. But however, we also push them back. We currently have a coalition of FOI, an FOI unit in Nigeria that it consists of about 6 MDAs, and what we do is rank MDAs in Nigeria every year on the 28th of September to commemorate the Right to Know Day. So we try to rank them. So we're pushing back. So sometimes we get information, sometimes we don't, but that's fine. The ones we have, we publish it on Budeshi. So what the interface, the Budeshi interface is pretty simple to use. We have the web interface and we have the mobile interface. It gives you access to contractors' names, contractors' phone numbers, email addresses, contract amount, location of the contract, specification of the project, and allows you to also conduct some analysis, if you may, maybe in the Ministry of Education, what has been the highest contract amount that they have, disbursed since inception, or things like that. So it allows you to conduct some specific analysis on the portal. And the question you asked about how people in communities can access the portal, we also understand the limitation of community members not being able to use smartphones. So we have been able to, or we have a toll-free line, Budeshi toll-free line. I will probably call that out during the end of the show. So what we do is it's free, of course, like the name implies, it's still free. So community members can call us and ask us for specific contract data, and we provide it for them. So that's how we are able to, bridge that gap with technological
challenges in terms of,
yes,
to the down and the lowest of the lowest of the people in the community.
And just to add, also we have another project, our Access to Justice program, that also leverages on technology, to improve access to justice, basically.
Okay, so hold it right there, because I know you're very excited about all your projects, and really it's something that should really give everyone listening to us excitement. Don't forget, you listening, you can be a part of this show. You can call the phone number 081-084-47518. The number again to call is 081-084-47518. You can call in and then interact with the guest here in the studio. We're talking about how we can leverage on technology to provide access to development to underserved community. And we have still here in the studio with us Nena Eze, who is actually the communications manager for Public and Private Development Center. She's been talking about a Budeshi app, and she's been telling us that it also comes on a web base, and then that there's also a Budeshi toll-free line that you can call to get most of the data that you want to get, to ensure that what is going on, what projects are government doing, and what is really happening to those projects. Why are maybe the what is it called again? The contractors, not up and doing, you get those kind of information and stuff like that from the Budeshi app, or even calling on the Budeshi toll-free line to get most of this data. But before we get on to what you're about talking about, let me ask you, what's really the inspiration for PPDC in all of this, trying to, ensure that people leverage on the, those apps and the technology to ensure that they bring about development to their space? Okay,
so our inspiration, our main goal is to improve service delivery, to eradicate or reduce corruption to the barest minimum, because at the end of the day, Nigeria is where we live, right?
Yeah.
So we have to figure out a way to make Nigeria great for us and
Okay.
work for us.
Okay.
And we have noticed that, with researches that have been done, corruption, most corruption or the highest level of corruption happens within the procurement cycle and the procurement process. So it was our mandate to open up the procurement process
Okay.
by any means necessary. And that is what Budeshi is doing, opening up the procurement process in Nigeria, ensuring that we touchlight each project in various communities and, trying to also bridge the gap between constituency reps and community members as well. So it's one thing for us to be at the federal level and try to make this policy or change this policy or open up the procurement process or try to make government more open, but it's another thing to actually go down to the grassroots and give them the capacity that they need to be able to hold their government accountable. Because what we've seen is that in communities, they are like, sometimes they tell us that the project that has been erupted or built in their space or in their community, they think it's a favor from the government, which it's very absurd. So we are coming in to tell them it's not a favor, that it is your right.
Yeah.
It's from taxpayers' money, and you have every right to hold them accountable and ensure and make sure that they deliver on what they have promised to deliver.
That's right. So when you're touch lighting, I mean, you use the whole
Yeah.
touch lighting. When you're touch lighting on those kind of development issues, do people not see you like an unnecessary whistleblower?
So it depends on which people. So is it the community members or the government?
Maybe even the community members. Like you said.
At the end of the day, we work with the government, right? We have to try, our possible best to ensure that we have a good relationship with them. So what we do is, even when we go out to monitor some of these projects, we do not just straight from the field we start to publicize. We don't do that. We try to give them benefit of the doubt, give them time to respond, and if possible, go back to the field and do what they're supposed to do. So we share our reports with the government agencies first, because we have to maintain that relationship. So we give them the report and call for a town hall meeting where everybody is on the table and everybody is contributing and saying this is what happened, this is not what happened, and things like that. So, and we found that has been effective, because half of the time they have gone back, the contractors rather have gone back to the field to do what they were supposed to do. We have some very interesting impacts across all our social media platforms and our YouTubes that have been highlighted from this approach that I just highlighted.
Wow, collaborative approach, and that's really what the SDGs 17 goal really talks about: partnership for the goals. Where you have community leaders and the community members themselves, government, coming together, sitting down, and then ensuring that they grow and bring sustainable development to those communities, because it has to be a partnership kind of an arrangement. Okay, we'll go on a short break, and then while we're back, just to allow you catch some breath, when we're back, we'll talk about the other lovely projects that PPDC is actually rolling out for communities, as far as ensuring that they leverage on technology to bring sustainable development to their spaces. So we'll be right back after this break. Please go nowhere. This is still the SDGs Connect Radio Show here on 91.3 FM Abuja, and I'm here with Nena Eze. I'll be right back after this break. Right, so welcome back. This is still the SDGs Connect Radio Show here on Radio Maria 91.3 FM Abuja, and my name is Ubong Aniete. I'm very happy to be the one hosting you alongside Nena Eze. She's actually the communications manager for Public and Private Development Center here in Abuja, and we've been talking about how we can leverage on technology to ensure that we bring about sustainable development to our communities. We want to ensure that everybody, the poorest of the poor, the downtrodden, I don't even know what classifications to give them, because it's actually not right, for me, to say those kind of things, but we understand ourselves, we're on the same page when I'm talking about that. We want to ensure that, deep down into those communities, that people have access to information, which is very, very important. And she has been talking about a whole lot. She has been talking about what PPDC represents and the kind of projects and programs they are bringing about in terms of ensuring that they leverage on technology to bring about sustainable development to those communities. So you can be a part of this show by calling the phone number 081-084-47518. You can call in and say your views on what we've been talking about, how you feel we can leverage more on technology to ensure that we bring about sustainable development to our communities. And of course, I'll be reading out later on some kind of very fun facts about technology that you might have known before, or maybe something that before I held you back earlier on, we're about to reel out some other projects and programs that PPDC or PPDC, I got it right. So what other projects are you guys into?
So we have an Access to Justice project,
Okay.
where our goal is basically to improve the justice sector in Nigeria.
Okay.
And we have 2 projects under that program. We have the court administration and case management, and we have the reforming pretrial detention in Nigeria phase 2 project. Our first project, the CACM project, leverages on technology. So what we have been able to do is provide speech-to-text facilities at some select courts in Plateau State, Nasarawa, and Kaduna State. Okay. So we basically trying to improve and increase the speedy dispensation of justice in the state. So I don't know if you have ever gone to a court hearing, a court proceeding. Good. So you see them. Before, you see the judges writing longhand. Okay. So what this does is it takes a lot of time and it slows down the processes. Okay. So we have been able to give them or provide, through our funders, the INL, we have been able to provide speech-to-text facilities. So as,
What did you call it?
Speech to text.
Okay,
so it's like
okay.
a recording facility that translates or transcribes rather your speech to text.
Okay.
Yes, so we have been able to provide that for some courts in the state that I just mentioned. We have also been able to provide virtual courts.
Really?
Yes. So we found out that...
What's the idea behind the virtual courts?
I'm getting there. Okay. So the idea is sometimes when inmates are in the correctional centers or facilities, there are some challenges that might not or might hinder them from going to the court to actually get their day in court or get their hearing, like transportation, safety. If the inmate is high risk or sometimes it can be a little bit of a challenge. So what we did was provide a virtual court. So what a virtual court is a computer in the court that links straight to the a computer room or a facility in the correctional service. So the inmates do not need to go to the court, risking lives of both the correctional officers and their own lives as well.
Okay. I'll try to escape.
Thank you. Try to escape to go to the court. Okay. So they just have to be, when their court date is scheduled, they sit down in the correctional service. Their lawyers are either with them or in the court, depending, and they have their hearing. So that's the 2 tech things that we have been able to provide to improve access to justice in the states that I mentioned. We've also provided a secretarial pool which just allows court staff to print, sensitive documents and things like that.
Oh, wow, lovely. So, how does that improve upon the delivery of justice, to most of those inmates? Okay,
so like I mentioned earlier, when some inmates do not get their day in court, it means they...
you get to spend longer
time, and who knows when they will be called back to the court again.
Let's call them awaiting trial or something.
Yes, awaiting trial. Okay. So who knows when they will be called back. Okay. So with that, the is shortened. The time length is shortened. Proceedings are held faster with the speech to text. I don't know if you have ever. I'm sure you have. When you're on a Zoom call or any virtual call in general, and there's an AI that takes notes.
Okay.
So is very similar to what the speech to text is. So as opposed to the judge actually taking so much time writing the judgment in the proceeding and after, he just has the speech to text. So all he has to do is read. His clerks or the court staff will read and ensure that everything that was said is what was transcribed, because of course AI and technology is not 100%.
Yeah, so two things it does. it kind of like shortens
Shortens the
sitting
time.
period for
It does, yes.
and also the delivery of
Exactly.
justice. It makes it come
Exactly.
faster or earlier than
It's
otherwise.
yes.
Okay, so that's great. So I mean, in terms of the three states you mentioned, Nasarawa, you mentioned Nasarawa,
Kaduna and Plateau.
Okay, so those are the pilots.
Yeah, those are the pilot states that we're working in.
Okay, so how embracive are they to this innovation?
Oh, they were very accepting. The CJs, the governors, everybody was very receptive of the technology and the change that we were bringing.
Okay.
And it was very interesting to see, because working with government sometimes we know that sometimes there can be a bit of a resistance, but for there was zero resistance. And even with the sustainability of the project, because of course we have donor funding and it's not going to last forever, so we had to find a way to ensure that the facilities, the technologies we're providing are going to be sustained. Nasarawa state government have included some aspect of sustainability in their budget, which goes to show that the justice sector is willing. They are willing to be reformed, and the governor and the government as well. They are very willing to reform that space.
Okay, so I mean, we used to have this World Justice Day, marked every April, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. So I actually went on the street and then I was asking people if they actually have utmost faith and trust in our justice system, and I got a whole lot. Of course, what the outcome of the answers would be. So in terms of awareness, for people, so that they can know that okay, something like this is going on. People work tirelessly behind the scenes to ensure that justice is delivered on time and it is served to whoever deserves it. What are you doing? What is your organization doing in terms of creating awareness for this program, this project?
So the first thing we do is, of course, use our platforms, our social media platforms, to publicize our activities, our successes, and the states that we're working in. And we have also created like a community of justice sector practitioners. We're working with pro bono lawyers in different schools, universities.
We still have pro bonus.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes,
I thought we don't. We no longer have that.
No, we do.
Okay.
So we're working with pro bono lawyers from different universities in the select states, including Adamawa and Lagos now, and so that's what we're doing. Working with other CSO organizations, we host town hall meetings regularly. We host our conferences regularly, and just ensuring that we publicize everything that we're doing. We also go to the correctional services to provide some of this free legal aid or free legal services to the inmates that are there. So that's what we've been doing to publicize the work that we're doing.
Okay, so someone might say you're not a lawyer, or are you?
No, I'm not a lawyer.
Okay. So, I mean, how did you come about, this kind of dreams? How did PPDC come about this kind of dreams to ensure that justice is being served? What really, like I asked you earlier, for the Budeshi app, what's really the inspiration? Why did you come up with this?
I think for us at PPDC, we're already doing a lot in the procurement space.
Okay.
So we sought to see how we can make more impact, relevant impact, and actually improve the lives of people. And it's almost like social justice and human rights. Okay. So that was how our Access to Justice program was birthed. So it's how do we improve? Because we always see a need. I think every CSO organization, including PPDC, there is always a need that we need to address. And we saw that the justice sector was in dire need of reforming, and of course we stepped in because that's what we do best.
I like the fact that you held a little breath before you now said that. So it makes a whole lot of sense that people are seeing or having this vision to arrest that lacuna in the justice sector, because there has been a whole lot of cries. Some people actually get detained for some kind of crimes that they did not actually orchestrate or something. So in terms of those kind of pro bonos, you talked about pro bonos, how do you cover up for the fees of maybe these lawyers or people who represent those kind of cases in court?
So it's a funded project, so our donors cover
for those kind of
yes. So because it's a funded project, that's
okay.
how
Okay,
are we
very,
taking
very,
it?
very interesting. So this is still the SDGs Connect Radio Show here on 91.3 FM Abuja, and I'm here still with Nena Eze, the communications person, the communications manager rather. I beg your pardon. I'm not going to I'm not going to do that to you. I mean your portfolio. So she's actually the communications manager to Public and Private Development Center, and she's right here in the studio with me talking about how we can leverage on technology to ensure that we provide access, to development to underserved community. And the key word here is actually underserved community, because just like she's talking, there are a whole lot of people who justice system in Nigeria has actually failed them, and have people get arrested for some kind of crimes they did not commit. And we have people who are working assiduously to ensure that justice is served on time. Yeah, there's not going to be that issue of it's getting like 3 years and you're still awaiting trials and stuff like that. Then also on the other hand, they also have the Budeshi app. That's very interesting. I'm trying to get that pronunciation very very well. So
Budeshi.
yeah, Budeshi app, and you said it means
Open it in
open it in
Hausa.
Hausa. So it's actually an app where you can log on and get details to data, what development program is going on, in your community, get that information, and then know what is happening, know who to hold accountable. Because most of the times, people don't even know who to ask,
Exactly.
most of these questions.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember I was actually on an X app space where we were talking about, developmental issues. And then I got to understand that most of the times people don't even know that sometimes they have to even hold their House of Rep members, accountable for most of the things they are actually craving for. So there's always that gap in terms of knowledge, where we don't even know, okay, this particular issue is supposed to be on this desk. This
Yes.
particular issue is supposed to be on this desk. So all like rumble and and then but we don't know who to really
Hold accountable.
accountable for those kind of programs and projects. So once again, you can be a part of this show by calling the phone number 08108447518. I want to hear your views. I want to know how technology has actually impacted on your life. Even the mobile phone that we're using is brought about by technology. And remember when we had the COVID period, there was a whole lot of outspring of online learning,
Yes.
platforms where people could stay back at home and then be learning, and it actually even bettered the artificial intelligence, where we now know as AI.
Yeah.
And so technology, if you want to look at it, has actually bettered a whole lot of benefits for all of us to enjoy. But how are you utilizing this? Are you just sitting in there and then you don't know that these are stuff you can actually lap onto and benefit a whole lot, just to make your life make a little bit of meaning? And then of course that's what we preach here on the show, just to ensure that everybody lives a sustainable lifestyle. We'll go on a short break, and then when we are back, I'm going to do a fun fact segment, where I'll just take you back to some things you might have known before, or maybe just to refresh your memory of some particular facts about technology that you really need to know. So go nowhere. I'm still here with you. I'll be right back after this short break. And better and better, and that's what we preach here on the SDGs Connect Radio Show here on 91.3 FM Abuja. I don't care about anything, I just care about development. If you call me Mr. Development, I'll gladly answer you. In fact, my name is no longer Ubong. My name is Mr. Development, so that if you see me on the road, anywhere you see me, just call me Mr. Development, because that's what I care about. I want to see a community where everybody is living sustainably. And before we get back to our guest right here in the studio, Nena Eze, I just want to just share a little bit of knowledge with us. I call it the Do You Know segment. I know most of you know about what I'm going to reel out to us already, but just to do some form of refresher to us. It's nothing really special, but then just to remind us of most of these facts about technology. So of course, you now know that in the last 2 years there's been an increase in blockchain technology. I know most people don't even know what that means. Most people don't know about blockchain, but then blockchain is an enabler, for businesses to be done online, where you can do some kind of persons to persons, payments. You pay based on receipts. You trade on coins and all of that. So in the last 2 years, there has been an increase where, if you look around, people are actually tapping on their phone screens, just to earn some kind of coins, which they can later on transact or transfer into some form of liquid cash for themselves. So that's still part of technology that you might not have been aware of, that these things are happening around you, and then you should actually key into to ensure that you enrich your life and then also live sustainably. And also, just to also remind us that we've also had an upsurge or an advancement in artificial intelligence, where there is machine learning. You can, at the comfort of your house, learn anything you want to, anything of your choice. Get on YouTube. Get on your phone. You don't even need to step out, of your confine, of your room, to know most of these things. Sometimes you don't even need a formal education, but you can just with your handset or with your phone rather, get on most of these platforms just to learn, about any trade, anything, just anything you want to learn. So these are being brought about by technology. This is actually called an artificial intelligence that you also need to key into, just to ensure that you enrich your life. And also there has been a greater penetration in terms of mobile phones. Now in every community, everywhere you go to, you notice that everybody has mobile phone, and statistics shows that over 90% of particularly Nigeria's population has a mobile device in their hands. I don't know what the other 10% is doing. I don't know what they are doing, but then there's been a really, upsurge in terms of, mobile phone, advancement. Everybody now is, connected with, their phones, even if it's not maybe a smartphone at that, but at least you have a cell phone in your hand where you can use to, pass information. And all of this is brought about by technology. So the reason I'm saying this is because I don't want you to be left behind. I don't want you to see technology as something that is really, really, really very far from you. Something that is unattainable. Some people don't even like change. When they say, okay, this is what we are, trying to achieve. Like we have Nena here in the house talking about the Budeshi and the other, what did you call it again?
Speech to text.
Yeah,
And
speech to
virtual
text, yeah.
codes.
So you notice that there are some people that won't welcome that. They'll say, no, no, this is stressful. Why are we doing this? We should still be writing, in the courts with our biro. Why are you not doing speech to text? No, 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 no. So people kind of like don't buy into, this kind of stuff. They think that it's something that is unattainable. But if you look at, the advanced nations, they actually lap on this kind of opportunities and advance, whatever segments in their society that they really want to bring advancement to. So it's not something out of this world. It's not something we have to go to the moon, to bring back and then institutionalize here in the country. So it's something that we, if we are ready, if we have the right mindset, we can achieve all of this. So that is what this program is all about. I want you to, even if you didn't learn anything, just go back with that mindset renewal that we can achieve a whole lot with technology. And these are common small things that should be at our fingertips, that we would use to bring about development in our communities. So let me get back to Nena. That was just a brief, just to reel out to us the advantages and benefits that we can derive from technology. So going back to Nena, we've spoken a whole lot about what PPDC represents, and we actually started from you and the inspirations behind what you're doing. So just to ask you, what's actually the next phase for PPDC? What programs or what projects do you want to reel out? Because I know you're full of surprises. So let our listeners know what's the next step, what you want to achieve, so that they can maybe key along and even partner you in terms of achieving this.
So our next steps are basically to expand what we have started and all the projects and initiatives that we're currently, working on. With our access to justice space, we plan to expand to other states, providing them with the same facilities, and also seeing if they need...
Sorry, the access to justice thing, what did you call it?
Access to justice.
Okay, so how many states now? 3?
So we're working in Lagos, Adamawa, Kaduna, Plateau, and Nasarawa. So 5 states now.
States, wow.
So
Lovely.
we plan to, of course, expand to other states in Nigeria, even with our Budeshi, expanding to other states in Nigeria and even across Africa. We have been able to do some exchange programs and prayer learning with other African countries, and we plan to expand all of that. And leveraging on our other projects, we have our digital governance project, we have our behavioral change initiative,
Wow.
which is kind of a fallout from our home video initiative that is about empowering young filmmakers to create content that highlights social issues in Nigeria. So we plan to expand all of this.
Oh, really? Okay. So that's actually the next step for
Yes.
for PPDC. Interesting. I'll get back to you right after this very short break. And don't forget, the number to call again is 08108447518. I want you to call me and say your views on what we've been talking about. Do you think technology is something that we can really use to achieve sustainable development here in Nigeria specifically? Do you think it's something out of this world, or do you think we should not even bother ourselves about most of these things? Or what technology are you trying to leverage on to ensure that you bring about let's say social justice to your community, or you create some form of learning, and maybe like we're talking about mindset renewal, reorientation of our minds in your community, because somebody has to step up. Let's not just be looking or waiting for one angel to fall from the sky and help us. We have to be our own help, just to hands by hands, and we achieve most of these things. So just call in on the show via 08108447518, and let me have your views on what we are talking about. You can even have a little bit of a question for Nenla here before she leaves the studio, or maybe you want to partner with PPDC. You can as well also call and reach out to her. Let's see how we can grow sustainably together. So I'll be right back after this break, just to do a little bit of reviews in terms of what has been happening in the sustainable development space when we consider technology. So I'll be right back after this break.